So today let us discuss about workspace, and I will tell about what is Terraform import and Terraform lifecycle. So dynamic block, these are the very simple topics, but it is very important. In interview they will definitely ask what is this workspace, what is this import, what is lifecycle, and what is dynamic block. So these are the very important interview questions. So that's the reason I just taken, and it as well as it will be very helpful in Terraform as well. So now let us discuss about workspace. Okay, now let me just open Paint. So just imagine this is a Terraform. Okay, so inside this Terraform also you can able to create a different environments. So that is dev test, like this UAT anything. So you can create your own Terraform files and you can apply in this environment. So Terraform has provided a feature called as workspace. So in the word itself you can see workspace. So try to create one workspace. Inside that you can create any number of Terraform files and you can apply. So for this there will be no, so if you imagine this is a Terraform cluster, you are dividing the cluster into different rooms. So you can able to work, so there will be no link between this. So who test will not know like what is happening inside the dev. So you are dividing, that's it. So now let me show Terraform workspace -- help. So if you want to see the list of workspaces, the command will be list. In the same way, in Kubernetes also we will be having namespace. There they will call it as namespace. In Terraform they are calling as workspace. So now I have only default workspace. So if you want to create a workspace, nothing but a new environment, the command will be Terraform workspace. If you see, these are the sub commands available. Delete a workspace, list how many workspace I have, I can able to see the list. If you want to create, you need to new. So now let me enter dev. Now let me list again. So if you see, dev space was created. Now if you want to, like at present, if you see the star, at present I am in the dev workspace. If I want to go to default workspace, then you need to use select. Then you can shift to that workspace, Terraform workspace, select default. So I have switched to default. Now let me just list again. Now star will comes to default. So now let me enter Terraform workspace show. If you enter Terraform workspace show also, it will just show the name of the current workspace. That means in which workspace I am in. so I'm in default workspace. That's the reason Terraform workspace show the default. So this is a basic workspace provided by Terraform. If you want, you can utilize this feature. So Terraform is recommending if you want to work separately between teams. So if they are like different teams are working, so you can, for your team, you can create a separate workspace. You can work on that, and you can create a dev workspace, and you can move the dev into dev workspace, and you can work. So this is the basic like importance of this workspace. Yeah, so if you want to delete the workspace, command will be delete and dev. Your workspace will be deleted. Nothing but if you want to, like, at present I'm working on default workspace. If you want to create, yeah, definitely you can able to create, but the like whatever the work you have done, everything will be same, but it will create a virtual environment. That's it. Yeah, do you have any doubts regarding this workspace? Okay, shall we like go to some other topic? So another was Terraform import. So I will just create one folder, mkdir. I already created folder, I think import. Okay, cd import. Okay, I will just created a provider file. So inside this provider I have added provided content. I will just create one VPC, simple VPC. Now let me come back. I will start fresh, it will be better. So mkdir import demo, cd import demo. Okay, now I will create provider.tf. so if I want to write a provider, so I'm adding a provider. Okay, now let me write simple vpc.tf. I want to create a VPC. Now I don't want, I will just ask to Google itself, Terraform AWS VPC. Example usage. So let me copy this. Okay, this is my VPC. Terraform init. Terraform validate. Okay, it was success. Now let me go to my VPCs. Let me try to delete this VPC. So let me cat this VPC. Now let me execute Terraform apply. So if I enter S, it will create a VPC. So let me go and check whether VPC was created or not. So this is the process. By using Terraform we can able to create a VPC. So now let me delete it. Now I will show one like magic something low. So let me delete this. So by mistake, for suppose if someone has created manually, he just gone to this VPC and he has given my VPC. So 10.0.0.0/16 tenancy. Yeah, I will just click on create VPC. So this was done by manager by mistakenly manually. You don't know we need to use Terraform, but he has created my VPC. Okay, for suppose I want this content in Terraform. Okay, whatever I have created manually, I want the same history in my Terraform. So Terraform was telling, so I need to use the backend, then I can able to show the, let me va backend.tf insert. First let me try to create a backend, then after you can able to understand why we are doing these things. Let me add, let me just add this backend, because if I want to edit the state file, I cannot able to read, right? It is showing some different language if I want to go inside the state file. So that's the reason I'm using backend. So in S3 bucket, in UI we can able to monitor. If I go to S3 bucket, if I open the state file, from here I can able to manage, I can able to show why we are using import and all. So yeah, just a moment. So I just added provider file and vpc.tf file, and now I have added backend. Okay. So now let me execute Terraform init. Let me enter S. No, like we have added a backend, right? It is confirming you are using the backend S3 as a backend. You need to use it or not. It is just asking. It's a first time it will ask. So enter S to copy, no to start with the existing state in the newly configured S3 backend. So whatever I have created, if you want to have that content in my state file, in the state file, then enter S. If you don't want that content, just simply you can execute no. So now okay, my backend was ready. Now let me open this tf state file. So if you see, my AWS VPC was added, right? Now let me try to destroy. So yeah, I already deleted, right, from UI my VPC. Then after I created a manually. So that's the reason the objects were already deleted outside of Terraform. That's the reason no objects need to be destroyed. Objects were deleted from the outside. Just now I have deleted, right, manually. Now let me give the different CIDR range. I will go to vpc.tf. Now let me give 192.168. Terraform apply. So it will create a VPC in the range of 192.168.0.0. Now let me check the state file whether that content was added or not. So if you see AWS underscore VPC name was main, so that content was added. Now let me try to destroy. If I destroy, it will be come into empty. Terraform, okay, typo. Terraform destroy. So if I enter S, it will destroy it. So it will be destroyed. Now let me check the state file. Let me just reload this. Okay, these things are okay, everything was working fine, but manually my manager was created one more VPC with different CIDR. Now he is telling try to add this same content in this state file. I want whatever changes I have done manually, I want the same changes in the state file, he is telling me. So Terraform was telling, okay, if you mistakenly did any manually, if you want that changes in your Terraform environment, so I have a command called as Terraform import. So if you want to let me go and create one file. Now let me try to remove this vpc.tf file. Now I have just provided file, backend file. Now let me try to create again one new file. If you want to have some changes, Terraform was recommending to first create a one empty file and just create write like this AWS_VPC. So what is the name of your VPC? My VPC. So open close bracket, that's it. You don't have any don't add any content. Now let me enter Terraform show command. So Terraform, I just forget to say Terraform show, it's a simple command. It will show content of the state file. Terraform show, by using Terraform show command, the state file is empty, no resources are represented. So that's the reason it is shown as state file is empty. So Terraform, by using Terraform show, you can able to see the resources available from state file in JSON format. Anyway, I will show it again. Now I go on to VM main.tf, right? Now I want this my VPC whichever created by manager. So then you need to just take that VPC ID. Now let me cat this main.tf file. Okay, I will just execute Terraform import what are the resource you have written, that VPC dot my VPC, and you need to give the VPC ID which you have created. Then just enter. Whatever you have created manually, that content will be added to your state file. So imported prepared. So it will add that VPC whatever I have created manually. The history will be stored in my state file. Now let me enter Terraform show. So if you see, my VPC was created. Now let me just reload this. So whatever I have created manually, I can able to at least store the history in my state file. For suppose if I created a EC2 instance, same thing, but Terraform was telling try to create a empty resource block. So try to create an empty resource block, try to give the name. If you want to import anything, collect the ID of whatever resource you have created. Use a command Terraform import and your resource name, resource whatever the name you have given, and try to give the ID. So whatever the VPC you have created, right, that history will be stored inside your state file. So if you see my VPC and the name was my VPC and it ID. So like that it will store the information in JSON format. In future, if you want to see whatever changes you have done using Terraform, if you done perfect, you can able to see the state file whatever you have done, but manually if you done some changes, it will be not visible in the state file. So then if you want to have the changes manually which you have created, then you can use a command called as Terraform import. Just create a empty resource block AWS_VPC and the name, and just give the empty brackets. Then just call this name as a import and give the VPC ID. I will add that content into your state file. Did you understand or like confused? Okay. Yeah, if you do some practically, then you will get some idea, but yeah, it will be little bit confusing. So yeah, in the interview, like for suppose they will ask like trickily, so I have created some resources manually, but I wanted changes in my Terraform, how you will do? Then you can simply said, yeah, I can use Terraform import. Using that import, I can able to get the changes. Then after he will ask, okay, how you will do? Can you able to tell me? Like that he will tell. Then after you need to tell, yeah, we can use Terraform import command. Using that Terraform import, you can able to achieve it. Then after, that's it. He will not ask anything. He will just test whether you know or not. So this is the basic usage. In the interview they are asking, that's the reason I just shown you. But this import command sometimes we will use, but majority we will don't use this. But Terraform as a future, that's the reason they, like nowadays everyone was keeping experience and they are trying, right? That's the reason they are asking this type of tricky questions. These tricky questions no one will know, like no one will, even in institutes also they will not tell regarding this. So he will caught easily. So this life cycle, so in Terraform we have a life cycle future. So this one also, like no one, majority no one know. I will tell. So did you get like somewhat understanding in import? So we can, so now just search Google Terraform life cycle. So now let me open the official documentation. So life cycle, we have three types of life cycle: create before destroy, prevent destroy, ignore changes. So in the word itself you can able to get what is the definition. Anyway, I will show it practically, then only you can able to get. So create before destroy, nothing but first create, then after destroy. Simple meaning. I will show it practically, then you will get full clarity. So prevent destroy, in the meaning only it is a prevent destroy, nothing but whenever I apply Terraform destroy, don't destroy that particular resource. Prevent destroy. Ignore changes, try to ignore some changes in Terraform. Okay, I will take the VPC only example. Okay, now let me enter main.t. Okay, let me show main.tf. Let me create a new folder, it will be better. So mkdir elf demo. Let me enter this file. Now let me try to create a provider.tf. So vi provider.tf. Now let me try to create main.tf. Now I was just want to create a simple VPC. So it was already created, so it will show already created, no problem. Terraform init. Okay. Terraform. Sorry, apply. Terraform apply. So it will create VPC. Okay, it is creating one more VPC of same CDR, and it was adding a name. Yes. Yeah, before it is it shows error, but now I don't know, like AWS was updated, it is not showing an error. Yes, yes. Yeah, it should not allow. Yes. So I think there is a different tag, that's the reason it has taken. So if you see, it is creating with different ID, with the different ID name, so there will be no conflict. And the name also different, tag also different, and it is creating a with different ID. So if it is different ID, there will be no conflict. Anyway, it will be confusing. Now let me try to delete this. You do understand, right? If you created any manually, you can use a Terraform import. Using that import, you just need to give the resource name, and the whatever resource you have created manually, just try to collect that ID, then you will get. Now let us discuss about this life cycle. Now let me execute again. Terraform apply. It will not create, it will refreshing the state. So there is a command, if you want to refresh your state file, you can execute this one as well, Terraform refresh. So it will just refresh your state file. So whatever while doing apply, right, it will first plan, and it will just go and refresh the state file. So you can directly execute Terraform refresh as well. In the interview, they will try to ask these simple questions. So anyway, well, whenever we execute Terraform apply, it will refresh the state. So they will try to confuse you and ask Terraform refresh. What is Terraform refresh? Nothing but whenever you apply anything, it will go and search the state file. That searching will call it as refresh. So it will go and check the state file whether it was created or not. Already it was created or not. Whatever the resources. So VPC was already created. That's the reason it will go and refresh. So whenever we do practice, right, we need to observe these simple things. So if you say refreshing state, so nothing but it will go and check the state file. They will just test whether you worked in real time or not. Then whoever work real time, they will observe, right, every command. So that's the reason they are just going to test. If you can able to answer it, then he will believe that you are a real-time guy. But even the real-time guy cannot able to observe some these things. So due to that competition, interviews was become little bit complicated. Everyone was coming just learning and trying in DevOps. So that's the reason the interviews was getting complicated day by day. So yeah, now let me just ls. Now let me go into my main.tf file. Now go to insert mode. Now I will just add. So how to add the life cycle, how to use the life cycle. If you see the example, I will just add this life cycle, ignore changes, tags. I will add this block. So before adding, I will show. Okay, I have created the VPC. Everything was perfect. Now my developer just go and added the tags. Developer just added manually a new tag. He just added env for his comfortability. He has added environment dev and he just saved. Now if I apply Terraform apply, Terraform will compare with state file the changes. If something was added, then Terraform will try to remove it. So if you see, environment dev was added by someone else. So it will just, if I enter as, Terraform will just try to remove the tag, but developer needs this tag for his comfortability. He has manually added this. Sometimes some resources we should not we need to ignore some things. Sometimes for some resources manual, there will be some manual interactions will be there. So if I see tags, so if I just manage tags, my environment dev was deleted because Terraform was compared with the state file. Whatever in the state file, it was not matched. So it was manually added by developer, but it was removed. So even some people have done any changes. Now developer will check and he will add again. So whatever the tags he have added, I want to ignore, even though if it was added. So in Terraform, now let me go this main.tf file. If you have added in that particular resource, so life cycle, inside the ignore changes, try to give whatever you want to ignore. So this is the comment. Now let me remove this. We don't need this. Yeah, let me show you practically, then I will explain. So I have just added ignore changes. I have given tags comma. So whatever the tags was added manually, try to ignore that. Even though from outside manually, if they added some new tags. Now I have added dev env, right? Now let me Terraform apply. So it will show no changes. So but developer was added a new change, a tag. So like in AWS, if you want to ignore some changes, Terraform has a block called as lifecycle. So if you see, he has added env dev. So in the before, whenever I apply Terraform apply, it will go and check the state file. A new tag was added in env dev. So I am going to remove. So Terraform was removing it, but I don't want to remove that. So I want to ignore that. So if you want to ignore any changes whichever happening manually, so if I go and add one more tag, so env now let me try to give. So I've just added one more tag. So if I apply Terraform apply, it will just ignore changes regarding related to tags. So manually Terraform will go and check the state file. If it will matches to the state file, then it will implement the changes. So if we want to ignore some changes manually, if from UI it was added some changes, if I want to ignore that, then we can define the lifecycle as ignore changes, and you need to give which I want to ignore. Inside the ignore I have given tags. That is the reason it was ignoring the whatever the changes added to the tags. Now let me go inside this main.tf file. Now let me try to remove this ignore changes block. Now let me Terraform apply. Now it will go and check the state file. It will compare the state file with your manual changes. If it is doesn't match, it will try to remove this whatever you have added manually. So if you see, from outside an env dev test server test was added. So if I enter S, that tags will be deleted because it will compare with the state file. If it is doesn't matches, Terraform will try to delete it, but I don't want that. So it manually developer was added. I need to have that changes. So if I go to tracks, yes, whatever you have done manually, it will not touch. So if you see, only name main was there because Terraform was trying to remove that whichever done manually. Yes, yes, it's a manual itself, right? If I'm just going and adding manually, yes, but I want to ignore that. Developer was adding it. It's just a simple thing, tags. It will not create any like any dangerous things for our environment. Tags, it's a simple thing. I just want to ignore that. Then if you use a ignore block, so va main.tf, so Terraform has a feature called as lifecycle. So using that lifecycle you can able to ignore some changes. So now let me try to add this ignore changes. Lifecycle, yeah, it will be little bit tricky, but we need to understand. Now let me go and add some changes. Like I'm just doing it. Go to VPC, I'm just adding manually. So env, so whatever I have done changes to tags, let it be. Don't consider this as a change. I am telling to Terraform, hey Terraform, don't consider this as a change. Let it be. Even if he has added a tag, nothing will happen. Just try to ignore that. So that's the reason I'm giving user lifecycle block. I have just ignored changes. I just given the tags comma. So if there is any new things added to the tags, just ignore it. Now let me apply it again. Now it will not try to delete it. So in interview they might ask, okay, I want to ignore some changes, whatever have done some changes from UI, I want to ignore it. How you can able to achieve it? You can tell that your Terraform as a future code as lifecycle block. Using that lifecycle you can able to ignore it. So now it was not done any changes, but I have added the tag. So if let me reload this, from outside I have added. Let me go to tags. So env test tag was there. So yeah, did you get this? Why we are using this ignore changes? So lifecycle has three. We have three. We have discussed one. Now let me discuss another one. vi main.tf. Now let me remove this lifecycle block. Okay, now let me try to execute Terraform destroy. So using this Terraform destroy, it will try to delete. Okay, if I enter S, my VPC was deleted, but I don't want to destroy. Whenever I execute Terraform destroy, some resources will be there by mistakenly. It's a I don't want to whenever I execute Terraform destroy, you no need to destroy that. You need to just show an error that you cannot destroy this, like that. So now let me go and edit. I will show practically. Terraform, yeah, we don't use mostly. For some resources, if you want to block the destroy, yes, in Terraform we can able to achieve it. So you just need to add the lifecycle block. Now let me try to write manually. Life cycle. If I get an error, no problem. Life cycle prevent underscore destroy equal to true. Now let me try to Terraform validate. So my code was correct. Now let me try to destroy. No, it will not show yes or no because I have used a lifecycle called as prevent destroy. So if you see resource AWS underscore VPC main as lifecycle prevent destroy set, so I cannot able to destroy this. Either disable lifecycle, then only I can able to. So error instance cannot be destroyed. Yes, no one can able to destroy it. Yes, yeah, yes, yeah. So we have discussed create before destroy. We need to discuss this create before destroy. So you got somewhat clarity, right? Ignore changes. So we can able to ignore the changes manually, whatever we have done. Prevent destroy, it will not destroy that block, that resource. So create before destroy, nothing but. So I have created VPC. Okay. I want to replace with new VPC. So I want to replace with new VPC. That means I will delete the old VPC, right? I will delete old VPC and add a new VPC. I already created a VPC, but I don't want that VPC. I want to delete, I want to replace with new VPC. So Terraform, what it will do? It will delete the VPC, then after it will create a new VPC, right? So I will show you practically. Yeah, I think you are getting confused. So vi main.tf. Now let me try to remove this lifecycle. So vi main.tf. Now I want to delete this VPC, but I want to replace this VPC. So I have given different values. 190. Now I want a range is called as 192.168.0.0. Terraform apply. So if you see, it will be replaced because I have just changed the CIDR value to this. Now let me enter yes. So if you see, it is destroying, then after it is creating a new resource. That means for 1 second I am getting a downtime. VPC was deleting, then after it is replacing with a new CIDR range. So first it was destroyed, then after it is created, but I don't want that. Even for 2 seconds, if I get a downtime, it's create an impact for my environment. Don't do that. First create, then after remove the old VPC. That is the meaning of create before destroy. Now I will show the magic. Okay, Now let me just try to apply. Okay, I will create VPC. It is deleted, right? Now I will create a VPC. I will go and enter. I will add a lifecycle block. Then I will show the changes. Why? Main.tf. Yes. So now let me try to use lifecycle. So yeah, we need to be strong in programming language. We need to know the logics, how to make it high available. So we need to know some terms, then we can able to make it high available. So if you know the about life cycle, yeah, definitely you can able to. So let me create before tr. It will be little bit confusing, but if you can able to understand, it will be wonderful. So now let me Terraform apply. So it will not do anything because everything was perfect. Now I will add some changes. I will just totally change the VPC ID as like in the previously I have done same thing, right? So if I change the CIDR block, it will try to recreate it. Even though if it is recreated, I don't want a downtime for even second. Now let me apply. In the previous command, if you see, it is destroyed, then after it is created a new one, but I want reverse now. First try to create a new VPC, then after delete the old VPC. So now let me just enter S. So if you see, first it is creating a new VPC, then after it is deleting. Yeah, it will be little bit tricky. So in this term only you can see create before destroy. First create a new resource, then after remove the old resource. So it has created a new VPC, then after it is deleted the old VPC. So if you reload, this CIDR range will come to 10.0.0. First it is created a VPC with 10.0.0.0, then after it is deleted the old VPC. So this is the importance of life cycle. So in life cycle we have three: create before destroy, ignore changes, prevent destroy. So prevent destroy nothing but whenever you apply Terraform destroy, it will not delete that resource. Ignore changes, it will just ignore. Create before destroy, if it will just create, then after it will delete. You know, import, if you have done created manually from UI, if you add the changes in Terraform state file, then you can use Terraform import. Terraform workspace nothing but within the Terraform cluster you can able to use different environments, and you can work. Then one more thing is dynamic block, nothing but it's a programming language. That's it. It's not a topic. Dynamic block is nothing but a programming language. So if you see, I have created a security group. So inside the security group I am giving ingress. I have given the ingress. That means I am repeating the same thing. So if you use a dynamic block, just you need to give the dynamic and you need to give the values for each. Then you can give the iterator. It will just replace the values. 22 will be replaced. Then after 80 will be replaced. Then after 443 will be replaced. Then after 3303. You can go on add the values. Anyway, I will stop for today, but dynamic is nothing but a logic. Using this dynamic, you no need to write ingress multiple times. Now I have written ingress 3 times. Just don't do that. Just use a dynamic, then just use for each. This 22 will be added to from port to port. Then after 80 will be added from port to port. 443 will be added from port to port. So it will create a, you can write like this also syntax ingress ingress. If you see only 22 port from port to port, here also 80. Rather than giving separately, just add this into a dynamic block. Just give the content. If you say, even if I search in Terraform, so dynamic block, yeah, I will anyway, I will repeat this tomorrow. So if you see dynamic content, so yeah, that's it for today. We just discussed the workspace import lifecycle. That's it, 3 we have discussed. So it's a very new for you. It will be creating some confusion, but yeah, dynamic block is nothing but if you are perfect in programming language like Python, or if you know some logics, you can able to get why we are using dynamic block, how it is calling. So for loop, it is for each, so it is repeating the loop. So let